And then she said I had forgotten how great it is to hear the cha-ching sound. Yeah, people get addicted to that, actually. Be careful. Welcome to SMPostcards. Today, the little agenda is right down here. We're going to go over some what sold postcards. I sold 15 cards. Should go pretty quick. A couple pretty good ones. Now with what sold, I'm not that worried about showing the dollars, but just a variety of cards that sell. With the number of cards I got, what people pick out. And some of these cards have been in there for a while, and they did sell. Some for good money, some for average money. But it all equals out in the end by the end of the month. So I'll go through each card, talk a little bit about it, get through that, and then we're going to get into the special topic of logging postcards. That's like redwood trees, logging in the west, cutting trees down, how they transport them in the water on trucks and stuff like that. Logging postcards. I think you'll be amazed at some of the sell-through rate and pricing at some of those logging cards. And I finally got a bunch of show and tell things together. Not a poll or data today, but I had my little bucket full of show and tell stuff people keep sending me, and I picked through and picked out the ones that I can use. So we're going to go through that after the special topic, and then I got a few viewer comments to go through and talk about. But let's go and get started on what sold postcards. Remember, I sold 15 cards. This year I want to do 16 cards a day, $80 a day. Keep raising my ASP, my average sale price, and be very strict about buying postcards. But the first card that sold is a farming scene in Washington. Just a view card of a farming scene. It's a divided back, $4.75. This next one sold for $17.75. It's the Second Ward School in Frankfort, Indiana. It came from that auction I did a video on that I drove to Indiana a couple hours and sat there and spent a lot of money. But this sold for $17.75, and it's a divided back card. It's posted 1909, but it's the Second Ward School in Frankfort, Indiana. Even though it's got a writing tab, it's got a line in there. So $17.75. This sold for $5.65. Little Grassy Lake. It's in Illinois, I think. Illinois. It's a grassy lake. $5.65. I think I remember putting this card up. I raised it up a little bit because it was down south and stuff. Next one is a photo, one of those ship photos, got a little curl to the paper. This is the WASP CV-18, circa 1945. It's an actual photograph of the WASP 855. Hello from Carmel, California. Nice looking card. $4.75 chrome card. Then I sold the print of the USS Bashaw SS-41. This is on the lighter cardstock on the matte front, matte back that the club did. And this is a submarine. You can see the gun right there. $4.75. Now these two, this card is the best of the day, and it sold for $27.65. This is a sanitarium, and the St. Albans Sanitarium, Radford, Virginia, for nervous and mental diseases and alcoholism. Now I have this in a semi-rigid top loader, side loader, just loads from the side. But this is one card that I had. It's been up there. Sanitariums, insane asylums, criminally insane asylums, mental institutions. A lot of those have gone by the way. And a lot of these places were put together, and these postcards do very well. I have a video coming up on insane asylums. I've done very well with those. Now how am I going to ship this? This is $27.65. So it's over the $20 for eBay standard envelope. So it's not going to go there. So I do charge calculated shipping. So wherever the person is in the States or wherever, they're going to pay shipping. So I take and I put that in a sleeve. I'll take the postcard and I'll put it in a brand new sleeve. Then I put it in a semi-rigid top loader. Then I'll take and I have these little Ziploc bags. I got tons of them. I'll put it in there to keep the water out. Just like that. And then I have these little white boxes, 751s. They're down in the description there. These little white boxes here. And I want to put this in the white box like that. But you notice it bounces around. Well, I had a bunch of these little bags I used to use for action figures and stuff like that. I still got a bunch of them. So I've been using them up. I'll take and I'll put this in the center, and I'll put this in the little bag. Just like that, and I'll just fold it. There's no reason to seal it, really. And then I put it in, then I just put it in the box. And I shut the box. It's kind of hard doing this on camera. And then it goes like that. $27, $30 card. It doesn't shake. That's what that does. And this will probably go ground advantage to the person, and that'll go out like that. So that's how I ship anything over $20. If they're going to pay $27 for a postcard, yeah, I'm going to give them, make sure it gets there and stuff. Now, if anything happened and I had to refund that, then it's a normal like package process. But I got less than 10 cents in that card. Yeah, I would lose the money for the sale, but my really cost out of it is a box, some bubble wrap thing, and Ziploc bag, and a 10-cent card. So that's the cost to the business. But most of the time I never have problems. But that's how I do those types of cards. Next one is Belding Brothers and Company, Rockville, Connecticut. Some factory. Going some steam out there. White border card. $4.75. This gentleman bought 2 cards of the USS Jarvis DD-393. Semi-gloss front, matte back is the first one. Jarvis. And then another view of it that looks like a coal burner, oil burner. And that's the USS Jarvis too. So he must have been either stationed on there or deployed on there. And I had 2 versions, 2 different views of that card. And those cards together sold for $9.50. This card sold for $5.75. Motel. Got a video coming on motels if it's not already done yet. Right there was a nice shot of motel. $5.75. I always try to bump motels up a couple dollars to start with, because they do sell, like this one did. You get an extra $1 for them. Then this is a shrine or something. Lily of the Mohawks, exclusive shrine card. Catholic Shrine, Indian River, Michigan. Vertical card. This way. Chrome card. $4.75. Now the next one was a trade card. It's called Space Shots. I bought a bunch of NASA stuff, trying them out, and I put up a ton of them up there. Well, the trade card, let me see if I can find it here. Let me get it out of here. The trade card is this little guy right here. This is Frederick Rick Hauser, and he's a pilot. Well, this is a little trade card. I did a video on these things. These come from eBay. This is the kit for trade cards. It comes with an envelope, a number 10 envelope, a stiffener with their logo on it, and then it has this little pouch thing. It has 3 different pouches in there. I bought a case of them because I was curious. So I bought a case of them, and I want to use them up. So I'm going to use this. So it says in the instructions, put it in the middle pocket, not these 2 pockets here, but put it in the middle with 1 card, and you put it in there, and then you put the stiffener in the number 10 envelope, and then you put it in the envelope. Feels like I got 2 left hands today. And then you would seal it, and it would go out in the mail like that. Now these are about 40-45 cents a piece. So if you're just doing 1 trade card, you're losing, because you can get an Echo Swift anywhere from 12 to 15 cents. It depends how many you buy, and you can put it in one of these a lot cheaper. But since I have these and I bought a case of them just to see, I have them in the Ko-Fi store. Just the cost to get it to you, the mailing, whatever it cost me for stuff, you can get one to see what it looks like without having to pay $50, $50 for a whole case like I did. But I just want to get rid of these, so I'm going to ship that. That sold for $4.75. The Space Shots don't sell that well. They sprinkle out like that. Next one sold for $5.65. Irvin S. Cobb Bridge, Brookport, Illinois. I don't even know where Brookport is. posted. Nope, they wrote on it, but there's no stamp or postmark on it, so I don't call it posted. And this has got it's a linen card is what it is. Felt like a non-pressed paper, but it's a linen card, $4.75. And the last card is General Israel Pullman's Monument, Brooklyn, Connecticut. A lot of statues there, a couple of them. Vertical card, 1908, divided back. So those are the cards that sold, 15. So my goal was 16 a day. I think I'm averaging for the year so far about 14 cards, a little over between 13 and 14, so it'll round up or down, so it's about 13 or 14 cards, so I'm not far off from the 16, and today I did 15. $80 a day average for the year so far. I'm way over that. Had some really good days, had some low days, but the averages out, I'm definitely over $80 a day. Today was $132.98 gross is what this is, and if you divide $132.98 by the 15 I sold, you get $8.87 is my average sale price. So that's way up for the day, which will bump the average up a little for the year. But for the day, I did a lot better than I've done before with my average ones. So that worked out well. But that's what sold. Again, it's about the variety of cards. You get to see all different things: chromes, white borders, $30 cards. Those don't happen every day. A lot of people go after those high-end cards all the time. They're going to have a longer wait time in between. They're going to have a longer research time. Not saying it's a bad model at all, if that's what you're into. Me, I'm divided back to chrome, average, move the cards, spend as less time as possible on them. So that's where I make the money. But whenever I see sanitariums, criminal insane asylums, that gets put to the side, and I go after that in a different way. And you'll find them in lots and stuff like that. That's what sold. Special topic: logging postcards, cutting trees down. I'm gonna talk about some history of logging and set a good foundation on the history of logging. And while I do that, I'm going to show you some postcards I found about logging. And I was amazed at how many are out there. I do sell them. The redwoods, like the Sherman tree, the car that drives through the things, the logs, and then the trucks, the logging trucks, the boats, and guys doing all that. I've seen those over time, and I've sold them. But I might bump my price up a little bit on some of them after doing this video. But here we go. Logging has played a significant role in shaping America's history and landscape. It all began in the early days of the United States when settlers relied on forests for their survival. Back then, logging was primarily a manual process, with early American pioneers using hand tools like axes and saws to harvest timber. They used the timber to build homes, furniture, and even ships for transportation. As the nation expanded westward, logging became a vital industry, providing jobs and resources to fuel America's growth. During the 19th century, logging started to evolve with the introduction of more efficient tools and technologies. The invention of the steam engine revolutionized the industry, allowing for faster and more extensive timber extraction. This advancement led to the rapid expansion of logging operations across the country, from forests of the Pacific Northwest to the southern pine forest. However, this growth came with environmental challenges, as overlogging and deforestation became concerns, eventually leading to the development of conservation efforts and regulations to protect America's forests. So everybody, through the life of the United States and our past ancestors, they've all had the same struggles like we're dealing with today. But it's in a different way. The steam engine's coming in, now we got AI coming in. Well, AI's been around a long time. They're just pushing it out more. It's something new, the technologies. So back then it was a steam engine. Now it's technology. In modern era, logging continues to be a crucial part of America's economy, providing wood for construction, paper products, and more. Sustainability practices are now at the forefront of the industry, with many logging companies committed to responsible forestry management to ensure that the nation's forests are preserved for future generations. Logging in America represents a balance between economic progress, environmental stewardship, reminding us of the intricate relationship between humans and nature and our nation's history. I remember back in the 70s, people would tie themselves to trees. They would hang out in the trees and not come down, and different things like that. Some, I would say, radical people about it. But there's different ways to go about things, and there's extremes, and there's middle ground, and then there's no people that don't do anything. So it just depends on the effort. But logging, I got two facts here. I found the logging lingo. American loggers have unique vocabulary, including terms like widowmaker, a dangerous branch that might fall, snag, a dead standing tree, or springboard, a wooden plank used to elevate chopping. So every industry has their own way of saying things, just like the computer and technology world, we say bug. It's not a real bug, it's just a bug. The history, what I've been told, there was relays, and someone found like a moth in between the relay, and they called it a bug. You know, I don't know if it came out that way, but that's what I've heard over time. Then the second fact is logger fashion. In the early 20th century, some loggers wore caulks. I'll put it right down here. C-A-U-L-K-S, or spiked boots that made them resemble human porcupines. These boots provided traction on slippery logs, but were impractical for daily wear. Have you ever seen those log rollers on the events and stuff? They have those shoes with the spikes, and they roll in the log trying to knock the other person off. I think that's what they're talking about. I'll see if I can get a picture of a caulk to put up here as well. But that's the history and information about logging. But do they sell? That's what we're looking at. Sell-through rate is one thing that I use, and I use this chart. I won't go in deep detail with it because my other videos I have, but they're separated in 4 different areas in my head, and I thought I would share. This is kind of the way I think when I look at postcards. 0 to 3% low, QSL cards, Cypress Gardens, different things like that. I try to stay away from because they don't move as fast. I have a few probably in my boxes, I know I do, for a variety. People will buy them, not saying they won't sell, they just don't sell as fast. Then the average and high, 4 to 10%, is where I work. That's what I always look for. When I go out to a show, or I look in boxes, or buying lots, or cards, I look at the average and high. And while I'm doing that, I find the lows, of course, but I also find the very highs. Like the Sanitarium I just sold today for $30. Those will pop in. But if you're just looking for the top stuff, you might be missing some dollars in the average, and if you're just looking for average, they will pop up. It's more fun and moving cards in the average area than sitting there worrying about a $70 card that you shipped out and then the guy doesn't like it, and some different stress on different models. Not saying that's bad. A lot of people are very good at that. I just like moving cards, and I like dealing with the chrome to divide it back. So that's what I build my model on, my business. So let's take a look and see what postcard logging did. So how I do sell-through rate is I just go into eBay, I put it in there, it gives me a 90-day shot. Not scientific. I'm not going to get down to the last card and all this stuff because it isn't going to make a difference. There's 7 to 9 million postcards on eBay. I just want to know what range. Is it something I should pick up because I got a chance to sell it over something else? Just a chance. When you go to the show, you can't comp every card. You can't look up every card like you do some things. Like if you're selling microwaves or VCRs, you can look up the model numbers and get a good comp. Comps don't mean you have to sell it at that level. That's just a guideline on the road, the white lines on the road. Now, if you have a VCR and it sells for $50 average and you put it for $150, probably won't sell because there's so many out there for $50. That's what it does. And you don't want to put up for $20 because you know other people are getting $50. So where are you going to fall? $40 to $60? That's what comping does. Doesn't mean people will go out there and comp things and say they want $80 for this VCR. They will keep looking and looking and looking until they find that one comp that justifies for them to do that. That's the wrong thing to do in my eyes. Take the average, get what you need out of it, your minimum price, and then go from there. If you can move it and make the same margin and money that someone paid $20 for it and you only paid $5 for it at a garage sale, and you can sell it at $40, $35, where someone else paid $20 and they sell it at $50 and they only make $30 by the time the fees and stuff come out. So figure out your margins, what you need for each item, and then you'll start seeing what you can buy it for. Just to get a sale isn't what it's all about. It's about how much money you keep. A lot of people say they do $50,000, $60,000 a year, do all this stuff, but they're spending $40,000 on getting their inventory. Because good inventory costs. If you're gonna buy good cards, it's gonna cost you, unless you get a windfall and it falls in your lap. That's the 100-year flood. You want consistent, sustainable inventory. You gotta find a way to get it. And that's what high and average cards do for me. I can go out today and find postcards. I can go to an auction next week and get 100, 300 postcards. I can go to my closet, so they're very rampant, where some of the real good ones and stuff you gotta search for, and people like doing that. So I'm not dishing any of that, but I would stay away from the lows. You're not gonna make any money for the time you're doing it most of the time, but some do sell. But I just went out there and did postcard logging. I looked at the sold. I clicked sold, which clicks completed. There's 405 sold. But then I unclicked sold and completed, and there was 4,800 listed. So in the item specifics and titles and stuff, there was only 4,800. So people are really not keying in on logging. Maybe they're doing forest or something like that. Times it by 100 gives you a percentage, and I round up or down, 8%. So this is in the high, right in the low part of the high range here. So it's an average card, a higher average card, middle average card for me. I don't pass them up. If I can get them for a good price, I always pick them up. A lot of them are chrome, but then you'll see here in a minute what the real good ones are. But to make it sense to me, I like to bump things up against other like things for postcards. And sometimes it's hard to find like things in postcards because there just might not be some postcards of it. But people use different titles. So if you take that 8% and you want to see if you're in the ballpark, in the white lines on the road, with the 8%, and these are cards I should pick up, you can always test it against other ones. So I did it here on these three. Plus logging. Logging comes in at 8%. Postcard Redwood with 254 cards. That's weird because there's a lot of California Redwood cards out there, and it only picked up 254. 7%. Then Tree. I just put Tree. 38,000 with Tree. 2,300 sold. Gives you a 6%. So we're still in the white lines. We're still in the high and average area. And then the Forest. I put Forest. 2,400 with 46,000. 5%. So if I had a chance to put logging in my title or item specifics, I would probably use that keyword. I'm not a keyword stuffer, but this is the places that I see. This is what triggers me to say, if I'm writing a forestry truck, I would say logging truck. Stuff like that is what it does. But if you notice there, 8%, 7%, 6%, 5%. So we're looking at 6 to 7% across all of the market for like trees and forestry. So I would say it's an average high card, a good average card is where I would put it. So that's that piece of it. How many cards are moving through the system? It doesn't do promoted listings and sell similar. All of that stuff skews your numbers. I just want organic sales. I don't do best offer. I have immediate, non-immediate pay on. I send offers, but I don't do a lot of sales. I have a couple coupons out there. They don't do anything, as you've seen on the last videos. And I don't do sell similar. And I only promote a very little. And that's just to get out of the conversations. Because if someone asks you, do you promote? I just say yes. I use it very, very sparingly. I put my best price out there. I don't haggle for 50 cents on postcards. So sell-through rate is just the number of cards going through. There's a lot of variables on why those sold or not sold. But it just gives me a snapshot. I gotta have something. I just can't go out there with my gut and look at a box of cards and say, oh, this is cool, because I'm really picking my collection. I want to see what everybody's buying. And that gives me a snapshot. There's other things I use too. How many of certain cards I have, or have I sold it before, and stuff like that. But I also go out there and I look at the extreme. I go out there and I find the consistently high cards that sold for logging. Not the $1,000 graded, the one that sold for $12,000, the one that sold for $1,200. That's not consistent. So I look for when it starts coming down, and I sort it by high to low. Where is the consistent there? I throw those other ones out, and I throw the real low ones out. So I'm right down the middle of the road. I'm driving right in my lane, and I want to see what I see. And I found 3 extreme priced ones. 2 of them are real photos, and one's a Chinese one. This first one here is a real photo postcard. Sigma, Michigan. Right up front, they got the city and town. Real photos, I think city and towns, if you can identify it, will trigger saved searches and get people looking at it. Sigma, Michigan, RPPC, postcard, circa 1910. And how can you get like circa 1910? In the Ko-Fi store, you can download these. On the Real Photo postcard, this is a stamp box. You can look at the stamp box and say it has AZO, has 4 squares in the corner. That's 1927 and 1940. I have these as a downloadable PDF in the Ko-Fi store for free, or if you want a card printed out, I can mail it to you. I think, I forgot what, the $250 or something like that. But I also have like all the eras too. And this is, I just put it in a top loader and I have it right up here because I can't remember dates. But when I get a real photo, I'll look at the stamp box and I come up with they can come up with like circa 1910 or something like that, just from the stamp box. That's how that can help with real photos. But Railroad Depot Logging Train BB. So this has got a train depot. It's got the train, it's got the crane with the train, it's got some guys standing out there. Sold for $138 best offer, probably took $125, $130 for it. Put a $1.90 shipping on it. So they got a $130 card they sold, and that looks really neat. Real photo logging postcards. You're gonna see how those do on the next one too. Is the logging crew eating dinner. Look at that title, Logging Crew Eating Dinner. It reads English, I love it. Pinnacle, Wisconsin, city and town. Morris, I'm not for sure what Morse is. Circa 1910, real photo, RPPC. They got all that stuff in there. I'd probably strip out the WI. I don't know what Morse is, it means something. And I would take RPPC out, I just put real photo, because when you write it, or I put RPPC. When you say it, they say real photo. When you write it, it's RPPC. So Logging Crew Eating Dinner, Pinnacle, Wisconsin. That's, I think, is what's going to sell that card, plus the picture of it. People are going to dig in there and look at it. $150 best offer. Probably took $140. You think that title sold it? Eating dinner, action, people, logging, taking a rest. People love stuff like that. I know I do. I gravitated to this one. Next one is a different type of logging card I picked out. It's a hand-painted Chinese stamp collage. And I'll see if I can blow it up here a little bit. But the guy's suit is like a collage of stamps. Like postage stamps, if you look at that. And he's carrying logs. Hey, that's logging, right? So I picked that out. I thought it had a neat collage and it had logs. Postcard, Man Carries Logs. Look at that title, Man Carries Logs. I didn't write this, guys. But I probably would do something like that. $82, 8 bids. That's not too bad for a guy with a stamp suit carrying some logs out, hand painted, Man Carrying Logs. I love that title. That's why I picked that one. So those three there are like when the consistency of the high ones started showing up, is they're running between what, $75 to $120, $130. RPPCs, real photos, and stuff like this sell themselves. You just got to get in front of the people. I wouldn't keyword stuff everything in there. People are going to look at this and want this card, and they're going to bid on it. So one sold, none of these, these three is an auction. So it can go in between, but they sell themselves. Do your homework on them. Get the money you want for them. Buy them as cheap as you can, but you're going to have to pay up sometimes to get them, unless you got them in lots. But these are cards that a lot of people seek out, and I will find them in lots. I've pulled out real photo postcards that are just amazing, that were stuck in a lot. People miss. People miss. I miss. You miss. Everybody misses things. But I don't put my business on the 100-year flood that I'm going to find something that somebody missed. I work on the average stuff, and then the other stuff just pops up. But let's get back down to earth. What do we see every day? This is what I bank my business on, is the average selling cards, because I just want to move postcards. I'm not trying to kill it. I'm not comparing myself to other sellers, saying I'm bigger than everybody else. I've done more money than you. I'm just showing you what I do, and I enjoy it. And I'm part-time this year with YouTube and stuff, and I'll tell you what, it's kind of nice. I spend my mornings in the office working on stuff. I'll work a little bit in the evening sometimes on YouTube and stuff like that, but I've got it, my procedures and processes and my repeatable processes down. I'm doing the same thing, so I can kind of batch it up a little bit. Now some days I do spend more time when there's nothing going on, it's cold outside, or I get into the groove of listing and stuff. But part-time has been enjoyable. I'm not working like I used to on all this stuff. But I found these three. Average cards, I'd say $15 to $20 is what they're running. The first one is Postcard California Casper, Postcard CA Casper California. Why do they got CA in front of Casper? See, things just don't read to me. When I read these things, I would probably just skip over this. That's how I am. Some people don't, they get more detailed. Shooting logs into pond, logging Metadata Company. So a lot of keywords in there, $20, but that's a pretty neat one. I picked that because look at the big, it's got some action, it's got some water. The logs are coming down to shoot and hitting the water. And some loggers and people like stuff like that. I would call out the shoot a little bit more or do something. I wouldn't do like a zoom in on the shoot and stuff because I don't do zoom ins. I do front and back photos. That's it. But $20 is what they got for that. That's not too bad. Now it's priced at $19.99. Do you think that was priced to keep it under the $20 for eBay standard envelope? I'm starting to see more and more 19.99s because we'll use eBay standard envelope and it keeps the shipping down. If he was at $21.99, then he'd have to send it Ground Vantage or whatever. So I'm seeing, over time I've seen that, and I have done that myself. I have a card I want to put up for $22. I came up with $19.50, $19.75. Keep it eBay standard envelope. So you're saving the buyer money in there, and I do free shipping, so stuff like that, it's just easier to do. Have you done that? I think I did a poll on that. Maybe I'll put that poll back out there again this year. The next one is a 4x6. It's a Continental. There's places in item specifics that put 4x6. If people were not looking 4x6, they would not even click on your item here. I don't put that stuff in the title. I let them get into the listing. So impressions is what they show you. When they click, that's a view, and that's when the buy now button shows up. And if they buy it and pay, then that's a conversion. A lot of people put a lot of stuff in their listings, and then people just scroll on by. Because if I saw 4x6, I just scroll on by. I'm not looking for Continental cards. But what if I like that logging card and I go in and look at it, and I said, you know what, I might like it. Here's the details. Shipping is a little high on there. So there's a lot of things going, probably why this card there, but it did sell. Just because I say what I do, they still sold that card. Even though they had 4x6 in there and all this stuff, and the shipping, they still sold that card. So it's not all about titles and all those little hacks and stuff. It's what people want. G&D Logging Company, Washington State, Cutting Tree, Vintage Postcard. That's another thing about Vintage. $12.94 plus shipping. Not bad. So you can tweak all your titles, come up with the way you do it, stuff like that, but it doesn't say you won't sell it. They'll still sell. But maybe someone else will sell a little bit faster. So pick a model, pick a system, and do it consistently for 3 to 6 months and see how it's going. Then if you want to make some changes, make some small changes for the next 3 months. And the next 3 months. Just doing it over a weekend, or running a sale over the weekend for days, or changing your price, and then you change it back in 2 days. That's not enough time in the eBay world. Next one is T Logging Company, Saget County Log, University, Washington, Seattle, 1923 postcard. So these are people sitting on a big board, big part of a tree. Across there is what I picked, $15.50. I think they may have got a few more extra for that, but $15.50 is not bad. Depends what they paid on it. So if you look at all three of those, $15 to $25 on the average part. Your high-end stuff, I mean, it's just sky's the limit and what people will pay. Now there is a lot of cards that are $4 to $5 cards. They're chrome cards, they're logging trucks, there's just a lot of them out there. But if you get logging cards, I would make sure I would take a second or third look and throw the title, once you get the title done, into eBay for comps and throw it into WorthPoint. If you don't use that, you can try the link, and I think you get 7 free tries. WorthPoint will show you the dollars for the free trial, and then it'll stop showing you the dollar. It'll show you the listing, but it doesn't show you what it's sold for. But if you want to try that, I have a link down there. It's an affiliate link. We get a little cut, no cost to you. But I use it because I like the option. And I just pay monthly. I'm cash flowing it out, and it works well. So it's just another option. If I don't see anything eBay, I'll stick it there, or I'll stick it in Google Image, or I'll stick it in Google. Just to see what I come up with. But logging I would do a little bit more with. Have any of you guys sold some really good logging? If so, send it into contact SMPostcards.com, because we got show and tell, and that's coming up next. And then I'll put it out there, and we can take a look and learn a little bit. But that's logging. Who knew? I've been wanting to do this. I've had a bucket full of stuff people sent me, but I usually wait until I have 3, 4, 5 things from people. And some of the stuff, it just depends what the viewers are like, me like. Not to dish anybody, but I'm very specific about certain things. So just keep sending them in. If I don't use it, it's probably still in there. I might use it at a later date. Or if it's just something that I don't think will work for the channel, I probably wouldn't use it. But I will try to send you an email when I'm going to use your submissions on what video is scheduled for. First one is from Kevin, the postcard guy. He has a channel, been doing postcards for a long time, has a lot of knowledge, and he gets boxes of real photo postcards, and he does the videos on them. It's just amazing. He just bought some postcards for like $25 a box. I put it in the community tab. I said, Kevin shows us how to buy postcards. He bought a big old white boxes, 5 of them, something like 20 bucks a piece. Those are the deals you look for. That's why you can pay the $2 for a card at an antique store, because you bought all these cards for less than a penny throughout the year. You got to kind of cost average out. I don't look at, if I spent $5 on this card, I might have spent $1 for all these cards. So if you cost average it out, I'm at 10 cents a card or something like that. So you pay up something, like when I go to the auction, say I pay $50 for an album here, and I pay $60 for another bunch of postcards here, but I only paid $8 for 500 postcards. My cost average for the whole auction is probably a nickel a card. Even though I paid up, I just ran the people out of money on those two, and I got those other ones cheap because they didn't have any money left. Or on some things, when I'll bid it up and let them buy it, and then when it comes to their good stuff, I'll jump on that. So I look at it when I go to auctions. I look at the whole auction, what I buy at the auction as a whole. I don't do individual. Just like when I buy postcards at an antique store, I might buy 3 for $3 and 2 for $1. It kind of cost average things out. Just how I do things. But Kevin saw the World's Fair Expo video I did, and if you look at the thumbnail I got here, it's got the 2 little kids, World's Fair, New York, 1964 and 1965 on there. Well, he said he has a sign, the original sign, and he sent me a picture of it right here. It's a 12-inch by 36-inch long sign. I've seen it in photos hanging over the outdoor souvenir stands selling the fair postcards. He's had it for years, and there's the 2 little kids. He also has a bunch of expo ones there. You can see the stack he sent me a picture of, just fair and expo ones laying there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 of them just laying there, and he's probably got a bunch more. But then he said, have I ever done a Hold to the Light video? Yes, I did. Hold to the Light is where you take a postcard, and they're made with different 2 plies with like paper and color paper and with die cuts, and you shine a light through one side, and it looks like the lights are on in the house or the moon and the stars. Here's 2 Hold to the Light exposition cards. Hold to the Light do very well. Depends on the subject and the condition, but I've always done well with them. These are the World's Fair St. Louis 1904. If you notice on this one, the light in the back shows that there's die cuts in the cardboard on the front ply, and it's got yellow paper, tissue paper or something in between, and then another one where people can write on the back, and you shine a light through it, and the moon's shining and the lights there. And then this one, same Expo 1904 St. Louis, again the lights and the moon, all that shows up. They're really neat cards. They're called Hold to the Light, HTL, and I got a video on Hold to the Lights. I sold a real good Santa postcard for $1,900 when I went to Brimfield. Paid for the whole trip. So those are nice cards. But thanks, Kevin. And check out Kevin's channel, the Postcard Guy. and he puts stuff out there like that. Ask him any question. I think he has a Facebook group too, if you want to put that in the comments, Kevin, on there. But then Eddie sent me a picture of his setup. I've asked people to send me pictures of stuff because we all learn. And I always ask if I can use the photos or whatever in the videos. This is his setup at his desk. Now let's walk from the right to the left. On the right side, he has his photo box. So he probably sells more than postcards or something bigger. Then he's got a regular printer. Then he's got his Epson white scanner there right in front of him. He's got some little CDs. Then he's got tissues for the times that he bought a card and it's not worth what it is. He can dry his eyes. Sorry, Eddie. But he has everything there, little coffee cup, and he has his laptop, and he's got a nice workspace there that he can work on. That's how simple postcards can be. You got everything right there. Make it simple. Just like me, if you see my videos, everything's in this little office here. I got a couple racks on the outside that I keep that junk out of the office. Everything in here, I keep moving stuff around here and there. But that's a nice setup, Eddie. Thanks for sharing. Then Michelle, longtime viewer of the channel, sells a lot of different stuff. She sent me an email, and I've seen it, but I never seen it, Michelle, but I thought it was really cool. I thought you might enjoy this as well. I saw people doing thrift store projects, taking old art from thrift stores and painting ghosts to make them creepy for Halloween. I decided to do some postcards using this method. This is one that sold this week, and it's a fun project and a good way to get rid of some low-selling cards. She's done pretty good with the little ghost inside. I thought it was part of the card. Done really well. Got $12 for it. Look at that. She got a spider webs, got the pumpkins. Ghost. Very talented, Michelle. Very cool. Has anybody else done stuff like this with postcards and change it up? But she puts it in the title: Halloween Altered Hand-Painted Postcard Ghost Spiders Web Art. Right there in the title. Very good. And I like the ghost. They look really neat. Then she sent me a message about the dinosaur video I did. I did that video for dinosaurs, postcards. And she sold one. How much do you think she sold it for? Look at this. It's a real photo postcard. Vernal, Utah, dinosaur. I can't say that name. Mastodon, dinosaurs. Utah Museum Natural History. $81 for a dino card. Dinosaur card. You see that, Boldy? Dinos are still worth money. New old stock is what it is. So thanks for sharing, Michelle. And what else I got here? Oh, Ashley went down to New Orleans. After I did the New Orleans video, Ashley sent me this message. And I'm going to read it to you, then I'll show you some photos of the corn fence. She actually saw the official, original corn fence. Enjoyed your video on New Orleans postcards. I was looking at a stack of them yesterday and wondering whether to list them on eBay or try to sell them in my local antique booth. Your sell-through rate info was really helpful. Thanks, Ashley. She visited New Orleans last spring when I travel. I love to take vintage postcards of the area with me and take then and now photos of the postcards at their place of origin. Lots of opportunities in New Orleans. Attached are my pics of the famous fence and common postcard. The fence is black now, so here's the picture of the fence that's black. Not sure if it was ever exactly green as shown in the card. A local person told me the corn fence design was actually available to be ordered from Sears back in the day. So maybe he made it for his wife and then he wanted to get his money back and he sold it to other companies. And that other corn fence exists in the New Orleans area, unconfirmed. Does anybody know if there's more than one corn fence or anybody's bought one on Sears? I pulled the trigger and began listing postcards on eBay last week. After a many-year break, using the Epson scanner and roll-up printer made the process so much easier than in the old days. Really appreciate you sharing your best practices and for being so helpful when I couldn't figure out my labels and printing things. Everybody gets stuck. I get stuck. I've spent hours troubleshooting things and it turned out to be, I had to do something with my computer or I just missed a setting. Everybody doesn't know everything, so if you got questions about stuff, I can't be the tech support for people, but if someone has a question how I do shipping policy or something, I can send you a screenshot. I got some of them saved. So just shoot me a message at SMPostcard.com. Maybe I can help you. I can't run your business, and I can't fix everything you have. If you buy a scanner from Epson and it just isn't working, I might say you might want to call Epson. They know more stuff about that. I just can show you what I do. And then she said I had forgotten how great it is to hear the cha-ching sound. Yeah, people get addicted to that, actually. Be careful. Happy to report that I had great sales my first week. Keep up the great work. So here's that picture again of the black corn fence. And then here's the postcard she's holding up of the when it's colored and the corn is yellow. I think they tinted the card. And then here's a close-up of like a clothes thing. So she actually touched the corn fence. It is a real thing. If you haven't watched New Orleans video, I found like 8 different versions of the corn fence postcards. I don't put them up anymore, basically, unless they're really different, but I haven't found them. I've got enough in there and stuff like that, but it's an iconic thing down in New Orleans. Thanks, Ashley. Then Lynn, if you notice, I got a lot of these. I had a lot of these in my bucket. I cleared it out. Lynn, Frugal Grandma. So she sent an email, some pictures, and some cards. Hi, Mark. Here's my show and tell. 13 postcards sold over the weekend. Very good. Which is a record for my eBay store. Been selling postcards only since August. Surprisingly, 5 were Continentals. They do sell. I just don't target them. A lot of people, like Moldy Girl Pickers Chris, he likes the Continentals. And I've sold lots of Continentals. They do sell. My buddy, that's all he does is Continentals most of the time. And he'll sell them. Buyers accepted my 10% offer for Elvis, $625. And here, I'll put up the pictures that she sent. Who knew? Yeah, Elvis. The others sold for $595. The Observation Towers, $495 and $455. 10% offers. Thank you for all your educational videos. I've learned so much from you and would never have thought somebody would want most of these. Hubby and I plan to attend our first postcard show on March 2nd and hope to find some good stuff and have fun. That's what it's about, have fun. Something to do. When I retired, I wasn't worried about money. I was worried about having something to do every day. Waking up and just sitting in a chair, waiting for dinner, watching TV, that's not me. They said keep moving. So I want to keep moving, and it sounds like you guys have found something to keep you moving. But those pictures there that I showed is the cards that you found. So when you sell stuff and you have a good day, send it in. Send me some pictures of what you do. We'll share it. So that was a real good day. 13 postcards. One of the best days in her store. And she's only been selling since August. You'll have days like that. And then Eddie came back, and he asked me a question. And I had to look at the card, Eddie, and, here in a second, but I noticed a few things about the card right away. He said, found this German postcard. Now, he did say German, so it piqued my interest because I know it should be higher quality because they did some really good postcards. It could be higher quality over there. But it looks like it's like an embossed card glued onto a paper backing. It's a non-pressed paper, like they're kind of thicker. I've seen cards like this. Once I looked at it, I kind of knew it's going to be a thicker card and a heavier embossed. It looks maybe a medium embossed. How would you describe it? Also, the card and paper are coming apart at the bottom. Would you glue it back together and state this in the listing, or would you just leave it and just state the issue listing? So here's the postcard. And everybody looks at it right away. It's a flower card. Not a lot going on. Has a little bit of border. Just doesn't really have a lot going on. But then here's the back. Look what's that. You see what I see right away? There's 2 things. One, it's foreign. So that I don't do a lot of foreigns. 2, look at the water staining. There was some kind of moisture that got to this. That's why it's probably peeling on there. So I wrote back and I said, I probably wouldn't even bother with this card. It would go into my flea market bucket or my scrapper pile. There's not enough going on in the front of it. It's foreign and there's water damage. So you're probably asking for problems, probably not worth the time to list, is what I told them. I'm not for sure what you did with it, Eddie. But if the front of that card had a little bit more interesting or something, maybe. But a lot of cards like this, I don't list them. I don't care what I paid for them and stuff. I don't want the problems. I just give it to a scrapper or whatever. They're really, really bad. Sometimes you just throw them out. But this card to me is probably the likelihood of this selling. I don't really see anything that would make it above, and people would want this. Sal just told me the same thing, if you heard that. So thanks, Eddie. But if you got any questions like that, send it to me. I'll give you my opinion. And sometimes it might not be what you want, but I'll try to tell you what I would do with it. I really can't give you prices on it because I'd have to go in and comp stuff and do. I'm going to do what you do for prices, but questions like that about what would you list that for, how would you title it or whatever, me, I wouldn't bother with it. Next one came in from Alan. This is a newer subscription thing, and surprising to me, but it's not surprising, but it is surprising, Alan, is he sent there's an auction at Heritage Auctions, Winter Platinum Night Sports Auction, 24th and 25th of February, extended online bidding. It's got a baseball glove there, older one. I'm saying, what? There. So I open up the next one, and it says 1915 Boston Red Sox rookie Babe Ruth real photo postcard, PSA, MT6, whatever all that means. Single finest example. Estimate in the auction to go for $1 million. Then he sent me the latest. He said it was $340,000 is the highest bid so far. And he sent me the link. I went out and looked at the link and I captured it here. It's up to $340,000 for this postcard. A graded Babe Ruth baseball card. Or postcard. Real photo postcard. They're out there, folks. So if you get one like that, I'll probably never hear from you again. If I get one, I'll let you know, and that'll be the last video. Because my studio and my manager will take over, my agent will take over and do the videos. But yeah, $1 million for a real photo postcard. Unreal. Different level than I do. But that's all the show and tells. I like seeing the stuff like this. It's not all about me here. It's about you guys. I'm not going to get up here and tell you I sell 1 million cards a day and how I did it and stuff. I'm just an average postcard seller with the best average profit, with the best average sales that eBay can have. That's my goals. I'm part-time, and I do this. I like doing the videos because I learn, and I share stuff. And we've got a good community here. I've learned so much from you guys. It's amazing. I learn every day and stuff like that. But just send them in to contact at SMPostcards.com. I'll see if I use them. If I use them, I'll send you an email. Hopefully, I get everybody, and I'll tell you what video it's scheduled on so you can look at it. But thanks for all the submissions. Next is viewer comments. These come from YouTube, eBay, email, different places. But if it's in eBay, I had another person comment. I just say comment on one of my videos. That's all I can say in eBay. They don't allow you to send links and stuff. But if you leave it on YouTube, I consider them public because it's got your name on them. And if you send an email that's a little more private, I'll ask you if I can use it on a video or something like that. Most people are okay with it. But I got 3 comments here today because I went through a lot of that stuff. But the first one is from Wandering Ghoul, Zombie for short. This was talking about lotting up postcards. I only lotted up cards a few times. I sold lots of my junk cards with water damage, just like the one we talked about, or badly boxed corners, where the corners get rounded and pushed in and stuff. Sometimes you just got to pull the trigger and say, I'm not listing this, because you're going to have to put some disclaimers in, and it's just going to cause a conversation. So that's what I do. I don't want the conversations. If it's got a real big crease in it and it's a chrome card, flea market bucket. I'm not even going to try to get it. I'm not worried about 10 cards out of a stack of 100 or 200. You're just going to get questions or returns or whatever. As crafting materials, not a lot of money doing that, but it's more than pays for the cards. Yeah, I put lots together. I basically have a couple that resell, that whenever they do an order in Ko-Fi, they get stuff out of Ko-Fi, I jam their box stuff from my flea market. I have a little bucket right here. If you notice, it's about 1/8 of a quarter full. These are just different things. Like this thing. What is this? I just toss it in there, and she'll go through them, and I just give it to her for free. I'm not going to box them up and stuff like that. There might be some good ones in there that they'll list or that do different things with, but I send those to them. It just makes it easier. But once in a great while, I'll get a big box of stuff. I will put a scrapper lot together and get it out there. I used to bring them to the flea market. That's called the flea market bucket to me. Because I would box them up and sell them at the flea market, $10, $20 for the box. And like Wandering Ghoul here, you get your money back. So I just right under the desk. So if I'm listing this card and it's got a big crease or something in it, I just toss it in the bucket under the desk, and I delete the photo and I move on to the next card. If that one's bad, I toss it under the desk. Or if I see a lot of Mount Vernons, toss it under the desk. SMPostcards, QSL cards. I just keep tossing it there. When the box gets full and they order something, or I'll just send them a box when it's full. Or I'll set it to the side. And that way, it's a good way to get the scrapbookers, that's what scrappers are, and junk journalists and stuff like that do things. Thanks, Wondering Ghoul. Then Ashley comes back again. This is Ashley's day. These recommended scanner settings from SMPostcards save me a lot of time and frustrations. Out of the box, successfully scanning postcards in less than 10 minutes. Thanks, Mark. She's talking about she got an Epson scanner and she wanted to set it up and do the settings. I've done that work for you. I've got some tested settings here. They're free. Just download them in the Ko-Fi store, and here's the link. But I have the Epson ES400. I'll get it right on this video. I was calling it a 450 in the other video. But there's the ES400 too. I have one of those, and a lot of people use those. Those are workhorse for postcards. Those are the settings I have. No one has come back yet with any newer settings, but they've liked what these do. And then the other one, the newest one, Epson ES580W, which is wireless, has an LCD screen on the front. Looks like the 400, but it just has an LCD screen. I have one of those also. The settings are the same on both of them. The one just has Wi-Fi, and there's some other network settings and stuff like that. But they're free, and a lot of people have commented that it's been a lifesaver for them, because one guy sent a couple of Epsons back and forth back to Best Buy or wherever he bought it because it wasn't working, and it was the settings. No one knew. Number one reason, these are document scanners. The 400 and the 580s are document scanners. They're not photo scanners. So if you put a real photo postcard in them and you haven't set it up to the settings I have here, you're going to get like negative looking weird stuff. Your red's going to be off. Just go through a document and set it up, and it'll work well. If you want a photo scanner, those are the 600 series. They're going to be a lot more expensive, but these will work well for postcards. They do well for the chromes. They do well the detailed. I scan at 400 DPI. There's no reason to go any higher. No reason to doctor up your photos and all that stuff. Just scan them, get the front and back, list a postcard is what I tell people. I can scan a box of postcards, I don't know, whatever that video I did with the time, but it doesn't take long at all. If you're using a flatbed scanner, I'm going to do a video later this year. I have a flatbed all-in-one printer. I'm going to try to hook up both of them together. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm just going to show you how much effort it takes. Some people are stuck in stone. That's what I'm using. Well, Fred Flintstone had a car too, but he had to use his feet. I don't like flatbed scanners for selling postcards. Too much time and stuff like that. But some people are stuck. They're not going to agree with me, but that's what it is. But thanks, Ashley, and go out and check Ko-Fi for those things. It's free. Now, it does say pay what you want. You can put 0 there. They're done. I did that, and they're out there. Thanks, Ashley, for everything you submitted for this video and participated. Then Patient Picker. This is the person that was a sports card guy. He'd sell sports cards. He come back and he said, so when you sell a card, you never replace a new card with the same number. So what he's talking about is when I list my postcards, I put them in a sleeve and I put an inventory number. Now I'll reuse the sleeves. Once I use it, I'll put it, this one's got like 2 stickers on it. I'll just put another sticker over the top. So I save, when I sell it, I remove this and I give them a brand new one. I never send a sleeve with my inventory number on it. Just give them a new sleeve. They don't cost that much. And I got those in the Ko-Fi store. But this number here is 76362. I'm not going to manage my inventory and go out there and put another 76362. I'm not going to write the number down to reuse. It doesn't do anything for me. What I would have to do is I would have to go find 7362 in this box. And then I have to make sure I put it in the right place. And I have to keep track of what number it is and are available. It just, in there. What I do is I take, so say this is the box I'm working on. The last card in here is the highest number. I just keep moving forward with the highest number. So I'll never reuse 763. 76362 will never be used in my inventory again. I just keep moving forward. I'll never run out of numbers. The more times I touch these cards that are in these boxes, the more times I'm going to cause an issue. Humans will cause problems. So I just keep moving forward. My oldest card that I listed in 2019 is in number 1 box, and box 115 is my newest card I listed with the highest number. Every 3 to 6 months, I go through and I start tightening up the boxes, because you sell out of all the different boxes and they get loose and they start getting really loose. So, and I need some more room down here. So I'll start in box 1 and see what I need, and I'll move some from 2, and I'll move some. I just keep moving the cards, tightening up the boxes toward number 1, and then at the end, I usually end up with 5 or 6 or 10 empty boxes that I can keep adding to. So if I go through and I put these postcards back in the little spots and all this stuff, or if I use the divider thing, you're going to have dividers that will sell a lot of, and there's not 1 or 2 cards in there. Reuse that. That's a different model than what I do. But I don't reuse numbers. There's no reason to, in my mind, to spend the time to do that. No one's coming in looking for that card except me. No one's using my inventory except me. I'm the boss. No one's coming in giving you a grade on your inventory. The only thing I tell people is get a system and make sure that you don't spend too much time looking for a card. If you got to open boxes and dig through 1,000 cards every time you sell a postcard, you won't be doing it for long. You're going to get sick of it. Me, if I sell 10 postcards, 10, 20 minutes, my shipping. It's not that hard. I can find a card pretty quickly. They're 5 steps from my desk. They're all in numerical order. And once I find the number, I check and make sure the picture on the card, it's the right card before I put it in the envelope. Very rarely do I have a problem. Now, if I misplace a card in cards, there's 51,000 listings, over 100,000 cards here, because I have multiples of the ships and different cards. If I misplace one and I can't find it right away, I'm not going to hunt through that many cards to find it. I'm screwed. But that's why I'm pretty diligent about not touching these once I put them in there. It's too hard. You'll never find it. And I'm not going to spend the hours to do it for $5. So I got to make sure it's right. So we went over logging postcards today. I wouldn't pass them up. I'd give them a second, third look and see what they are. Even the chrome ones, put them in there. Company names, make sure the titles are good. Loggers eating dinner. Best title of the day. I love it. That one sold very well. But that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Here's some more fish. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.